Welcome to the Crispin Flintoff Show, hustings for This Is Your Party Central Executive Committee election. We've got, I think it's 18 candidates to go through on this show. I can see some people are saying I'm a candidate and I wanted to be on here. We'll try and get you on in the next week for another one. Just so many candidates, but I want as many people to get a platform. But it also means that the candidates are only getting 2 minutes to speak each in the first hour. So I think I'm going to have to be tougher than I've ever been in my life, which is going to be difficult. So I've got this thing here. If you get to 2 minutes, when I've detected the end of a sentence, I'm going to mute you. Try and make your sentence like a James Joyce novel, and you might be right. Only being pretentious. Look, I'm going to start off with I think most people have got the order. I did send it out in the email. We're going to start off in the southeast, where I'm also standing, but we've got three candidates from the southeast standing. The first candidate. Lots of love and solidarity with the first candidate is Cassie Bellingham. Uh, how you doing, Cassie? All right?
Hello there. I will barrel on then. I know we're short of time. So
Um,
my name's
so
Cassie
hold
Billingham.
on. Let me. I just want to, just because you're the first. I just want to say thank you for coming on first, and
Okay.
lots of respect for you for doing that. I won't be able to talk to anyone else. It'll all be bang bang, everyone straight away. So I'll start. I'll start now. Thank you, Cassie.
Thanks, Crispin. So my name's Cassie. Thank you for letting one of your competitors, or many of your competitors, come on and talk. That's great. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Hearing our views. So I'm in the southeast. I'm in Banbury, so I'm right at the top of the southeast, and my colleague on the many slate is down in Worthing, right at the bottom. So we're very far apart, which shows how far these regions are. And one of the things I'm really passionate about is that we are really representing everyone within the movement, and it's not just big city candidates. So I was really honoured to be asked to stand and to be involved from a small market town that most people haven't heard on. So that's been really important. That's been really important for me. Um, I have a background in healthcare policy. I've served in the armed forces. I'm a military veteran, which is not something you see on the left very often. There are more of us around than you think, but we are there. I stood as an independent candidate at the last parliamentary election. So I do have political experience, but this is my first time stepping out into the national role. My focus has always been on community organising. I fought PSPOs, fought local planning things, worked on campaign groups, sit on a couple of trustee boards, and I'm very interested in the governance side of stuff. So that's what I'm wanting to bring, is that organising. It's going to be very bureaucratic the first year. It's going to be lots of setting stuff up, lots of getting structures in place, and I still feel so enthusiastic about this project, despite the fact we're still in the storming phase and it feels very rocky. I still feel that initial passion. I'm very proud to be part of the many. I'm really proud that they've gone out and actively looked for community campaigners to kick us up the arse and get new faces out into the field. I know that's been controversial, but I'm grateful for it. And I'm grateful for your time. Thank you for listening.
Brilliant. Cassie set the benchmark there. So 1 minute, she beat a minute. So look, I'm going to go straight to Amar, Dr. Amar Nawali. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, are you ready?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Hello. I'm Madhuri. I'm consular in West Beckley, Milton Keynes. I look for. I did a lot of work for communities, support the communities and local issues. Also supporting the regional issues and the country issues as well. I work with. I did a lot of canvassing, talk to the people, talk to the voters, and try to solve a lot of problems. I'm a professional working in aerospace. I have PhD in manufacturing. I'm using my skills for improving people's lives. I joined a Green Party and then Labour Party. I had a lot of executive positions there, and I'm willing to support your party here in Milton Keynes and Southeast. Standing as independent, as we are agreed in the conference to stand for the parties, and we agreed to have like collective leadership, and we should follow the process rather than doing slates or something. So I'm supporting that more, and uh, so I'm for the rule for CEC rules. I'm planning to build the strategies for the parties in the regions and in the country, and momentum to spread the party and expand in the region, and bring the best leaders for the areas and do canvassing, expand the areas. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you. So I'm just going to move on to Jonathan Sacco.
Yeah. Thanks for having me,
Hold on,
Chris.
let me, hold on.
Oh,
Ready?
yeah.
And off you go.
All right. Thanks for having me, Crispin. I'm Jonathan Osako. I'm 25 years old, a secondary school teacher, and a proud NEU member. I'm standing because our party needs to be organized, principled, and ready to win. And before I continue, I want to clarify something. There was some controversy around the CEC candidates being disqualified, and Raj Gill was on that list. And I want to be clear that his candidacy has now been reinstated in London. He does not belong to another party. He's a comrade that I work closely with. And if you're based in London, you can endorse him. And I want to express my solidarity with Dave Nellis as well. I've worked closely with Dave through the NEU and secured a conference with victory alongside him. So while I understand the rule, in a democracy, everyone deserves a fair voice and a fair process. I'm standing with a clear plan to get our party ready for the local elections in May. We need to select around 10,000 councillor candidates to give additional support to the 1,666 who have a real chance of winning. That's how we turn our values into real power, and we currently have some catch up to do. But I'm confident with quality leadership, we could overcome the challenge. And I believe in political plurality. Local branches must have real power to shape policy while we stay united around equality, solidarity, and justice. And as a young teacher, I see the struggle many young people face every day: high unemployment, inflated job requirement, and underfunded schools. And I bring that perspective into our politics. I also fight for overseas trained teachers' right, maintain a clear pro-Palestine stance, and defend the right to protest, because real change comes from people organizing and speaking out. So this is the party I want to help build, rooted in youth, community, and justice. And that's why I'm standing under no factions, no slates, and I'm asking for everyone's support. Thank you very much, Crispin.
Well done. Very good time. And now June Tobin, but she's not. I got the wrong region. She's in east of England. I think I sent an email out saying she was in southeast, but apparently she's over the border. She's in the east of England. June,
Hello, I'm here.
right. Are you ready to go?
Yeah,
Right,
buckle
off you
up.
go.
Hello, my name is June Tobin and I'm registered as a candidate for the South East region of England. My bio on Facebook and LinkedIn will tell you my history on socialism. But I will say this, I'm an accomplished organiser of large teams of people from all walks of life, both in corporate and community settings. I've managed teams of 300 plus people in both areas. The CEC is going to be critical to establishing firm foundations for all of us to build on from the rank and file, from the grassroots bottom up. Communication with members is the key to success. Not every member of your party will want to be a member of a branch. So how do we keep them informed and engaged? I will push and advocate for the following: a monthly podcast delivered by two different members of the CEC, providing the opportunity for members to get first-hand, up-to-date feedback on meetings. The podcast will then be available on video across social media platforms. Full published minutes will be available where possible. A clear line of communication channel from members, branch members and regional officers where questions can be received and put to the CEC with clearly documented response times. And that any staff employed by your party will be paid an ordinary worker's wage. I will uphold all decisions made at conference, such as the will of the members, and I will act on that basis, and I will fight against any top-down decision-making and ensure that the party structures, rules and processes are developed in line with the views of the membership. My next priority will be to establish the branches, providing them with the necessary data and finances to function properly and democratically. And lastly, conference next year must be based on representation from the branches, but not the same people every year, and there must be available space and support for ordinary members to also attend and to participate.
Can I just check again, June, you're in East of England or South East?
East of England, so that's Bedford, Peterborough, right. Cambridge, Norfolk, Suffolk and Essex.
I think you said South East on your, and you spoke, so I'll just clarify. You're in the East of England, right? Okay.
East of England, right. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And now we're moving on to Robin. Robin de Brea. Is that the right pronunciation?
Hi there, thanks, Crispin. It's Robin de Brea.
Robin de Brea. Right, Robin de Brea, in the East of England. So that there's you and June that have come on from the East of England. So ready to go when you are.
Okay. So thank you, everybody. I'm Robin. I live in Lowestoft. I'm president of Lowestoft Trades Council. I'm a Unite member and a part-time truck driver and part-time carer. I want to say that I'm not personally in favour of slates, and I want to explain why. One is that it cements divisions, and we know that they're already there, and I think that this simply maintains them. The second reason is that I think that they are another top-down version of politicking, giving authority to people who have the resources and the connections to organise such a slate. I wasn't approached by any of the slates, and so it's clear that it's a top-down, it's not member-led. The other thing that I wanted to say was that I'm somebody who believes in working consensually as far as possible. I'm a trained facilitator for a process called community building, and I have some idea of the dynamics that lead people into conflict and hopefully also how to resolve those. My personal trip, if you like, is education. If we are going to successfully transition from capitalism to socialism, we have really got to know what we're doing, because that is an unbelievably profound job. And my task on the CEC would be to see that we had a strong educational organisation giving both the members and the general public opportunities to learn about how the economy works, how society works, the structure of capitalism, and all the things that we will need to do to transform ourselves from capitalism to socialism. Thank you.
Well done. Good timing. And now I'm going to Helen Bowers, who's in the Southwest. I'll just unmute you there, Helen.
Ready?
Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, off you go.
We have a choice: the building of bridges or the turning tables. My contribution to the Central Executive Committee will be to work with everyone, CEC members and the membership, towards the former. We are intelligent peoples wanting the same vision. We have to agree to organise differently and to do a different kind of politics that develops pathways for all members to integrate and engage. The bridge between the CEC and the membership is of utmost importance to me. In our new way of doing politics, this has to be a two-way process. Ensuring accountability, transparency and trust. The CEC must trust the membership with information and financial resources to enable members to set up branches, hubs, etc. It will be in these dynamic groups that responsibility is shared, motivation and engagement is maintained, and a safe space is provided. I'm also keen to highlight the issues of living in rural areas, as I've pointed out in my statement, especially isolated members and the recruitment of new members. I'm also very keen to highlight, I've lost my notes regarding this bit, but in terms of age, I haven't seen much in all of the discussions about age groups. And I think another important bridge to build is between ages, and as a recognised diversity, we have to get rid of negative stereotypes and we have to listen to and learn from each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And our next speaker is Alex.
Hi, Crispin. Can you hear me?
Right. Yeah, I can hear you. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Thank you. Hi, comrades. My name is Alex. I'm 39 years old, not 40 yet. I live in Bromsgrove in the West Midlands, and I'm currently a communications manager for a software firm, which is a wonderful place to work. I was a proud member of the inaugural conference for your party. It was a wonderful experience. Earlier in my professional career, I was a trade union shop steward. One of the youngest at the time in Usdaw in retail, which really shaped my politics for adult life, I would say, and put me on a committed path of socialism, should we say. The thing that cemented my intention to stand for the CEC was my feeling that there is a total lack of any form of communication prospects for the wider membership base, which leads into so many different things, and it almost feels quite deliberate from the interim leadership that they haven't allowed us to organise at a grassroots level. I think it's really shameful. Amongst other decisions, I just want to say really quickly, full solidarity with Dave Nellis, who should be here in my place as a West Midlands candidate, because that guy is a titan of socialist politics, and it's totally wrong that he has been barred from standing in this election. There's so many much better ways we could have handled dual membership, and it's a really shameful show. But full solidarity to him. If I had the privilege of being elected to the CEC, my absolute first priority would be member communication at both constituency level and national level, giving people the power to organise, to collaborate, to network, to form a real grassroots member-led party that can turn into a real democratic parliamentary force, because everything we do starts at the grassroots level. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you. That was good timing. And sorry, I just want to point out, Alex was West Midlands. I have been trying to head them up, but I got a bit trying to rush and get him on. So I'll slow down a bit so I'm not forgetting. This is the next speaker is Yorkshire and Humber, and this is Rashida.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Hiya. Are you ready?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, hold on a minute. All right, off you go.
Cool, thank you. Hi, so I'm Rashida and I'm standing for Yorkshire and Humber region rep. I think that we're facing with lots of problems, big international crises, United States ramping up war, and also we have climate breakdown, just hitting us, as well as the fact that we have a domestic threat in the form of reform and wider far-right threats. And we have a hapless government in place that's just doing nothing about it and conceding on all fronts. So your party offers has the capacity to offer a credible alternative. But I think the only way we can do it, one of the ways we can do it, is present a united front. And that means no kind of whip hunting of left factions wherever they may stand. But also, so I support anyone who has been expelled unduly or been barred from standing on the slate. But also, I would say the same thing for how we do our outreach. We shouldn't be excluding any groups of people, whether they're Muslims or women. So particularly over wedge issues, plurality of opinion should be respected. So that's that. I don't have a lot of time left, but yeah. So I think we need a friendly approach in how we do things. In terms of what I do on the CEC, so I would like it to be a campaigning group. Certainly as a rep, I would like to work with the other reps and basically conduct a tour around Yorkshire to ensure that branches are empowered and that they become really kind of grassroots fighting organisations that have the capacity to move outwards. So yeah, so I will leave it there. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. So, right, our next speaker is in the public office holders category. It's not a region. I think everyone can vote for these candidates in the public office holders category. I think they need 150 nominations, and the regional ones need 75. This is Grace Lewis, who's a councillor in Coventry. Grace, are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready. It's good to be back on. So I'm Grace. I'm a 22-year-old councillor in Coventry, and I became the first public defection from Labour to your party in the summer. And I'm standing for the public office holder position on the grassroots left slate, because in order to fight fascism and capitalism and ecological destruction, power has to sit with members and communities and not an opaque centralised bureaucracy. And to do this, branches need to be well resourced. We on the grassroots left slate are advocating for 50% of membership fees to go back to branches, with branches gaining immediate recognition, ownership and full access to data, because at the end of the day, branches are the backbone of a working class mass party, and they are the ones rooted in communities and best placed to campaign. We also don't want to recreate Labour 2.0 with suspensions and smears. And as the previous speaker Alex has said, solidarity to Dave Nellis, who's been organising alongside me in Coventry phenomenally, and very committed to your party, who's been deemed unable to stand. And if we want to win back the trust of these 800 members still out there, people and communities must not be silenced from the grassroots. And our slate is genuinely representative and diverse, full of train drivers and teachers and trade union organisers, filled with people like Mel Mullins and Candy Williams, because representation isn't optional. It should be our leadership. We don't need over-representation and centralisation of councillors when grassroots activists are more than capable and have experience that they can bring to the table as well. Therefore, as a socialist and anti-imperialist, I and the rest of the grassroots left will fight for maximum member democracy, power to branches, accountability to elected reps and public office holders like myself, unity in the party, and a party that can organise locally and will win nationally. So thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. And our next candidate standing for public office holder is Laura Smith. Right.
Hello. Sorry, had a bit
That's
of a tech issue.
Are you okay to go?
I can't hear you. Hang on. Could you speak again? Sorry, don't stop.
Are you ready? Are you ready to go?
I am ready. I can hear you now. Perfect.
Okay. All right. I'll start now then.
Hi, I'm Laura Smith, and I'm standing for the CEC because rebuilding trust in politics starts with how we organise ourselves. And I think that I can be a key part of getting this party back on track. Across the country, people know something is broken. Politics feels distant, unaccountable, and disconnected from everyday life. I have spent my life working in various environments, including in classrooms, trade unions, council chambers, and parliament, alongside communities who are ignored or sidelined. And I've seen what happens when decisions are made in bubbles without listening, accountability, or strong democratic structures. And I've also seen how even movements created to challenge the system can end up reproducing its pressures if we don't consciously resist them. I'm standing because we need a party that can disagree without tearing itself apart. A party rooted in communities, confident in its values, but serious about how it builds power. Millions of people are disengaged, not because they don't care, but because politics has failed them repeatedly. If we're serious about empowerment and real change, we have to build this properly. And that's why I'm standing for the CEC and why this moment matters. This isn't about individuals. It's about the collective change that we can make through your party, not just as a leadership team, but as a membership of over 50,000 people strong. And if elected onto the CEC, I promise that it will be my priority to hear and involve everybody.
All right, you're well in time. Thank you.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
I'll fill it. I'll fill it. I was just going to say I share many members' eagerness to get organised as our officially constituted Your Party branches. Our biggest strength is our mass membership, tens of thousands of people in every corner of Britain, and we're going to harness that power and we can win.
Very well added. All right, thank you. So our next speaker is right. So let me just get this right. We're going to the Northwest now. We've got candidates from the Northwest, and our first candidate is Jenny Curtis. Are you there, Jenny?
Yeah, here I am.
Okay. Ready when you are.
Right, thanks for having me on, Crispin. My name's Jenny Curtis. I'm from Colne in Lancashire, and I'm standing in the Northwest region. 2 minutes isn't a lot of time, as I found out last night when I had 3 minutes. So, Crispin said, why are we standing? I'm standing because I have a genuine commitment to making your party a success. I'm not on a slate, I'm completely independent, and I trust the members to make the right decision, whether they go for a slate, either of them, or for neither, or for a mixture. I don't know. I trust them to make that decision. Why I think I'm qualified to stand, I have good skills in organisation. In management jargon, I'm a completer finisher, which means that if somebody starts a project, I make sure that it gets through to the end. And I think that's going to be very important for the CEC, especially at the beginning. I have a background in education and educational management. I'm familiar with budget management, with planning, with GDPR, with safeguarding, with employment law, although that's probably a little bit out of date by now. Politically, I've been canvassing, I've done election campaigns, I've been a branch chair in Jeremy's Labour Party. I was women's officer, I was the chair of the LCF, and that's a job that nobody wants. And I'm helping set up and co-found the Pendle Proto branch up here in Lancashire. My priorities would be to set up the branches, obviously. They're going to be the bedrock. After that, we've got the elections coming up, so it's important we've got the branches ready for that. Though in some areas like mine, we may not have an election, we'll have to wait and see. Communication is a big thing, I think. It's been okay, but not great, far from great. Making the constitution and the standing orders fit for purpose, so we all know what we're doing and we can do it legally. I'm completely committed to the political statement. My political philosophy is do as you would be done by. Thanks very much, Crispin.
Brilliant. Thank you. And I'm going to move on to Piara Mia. Have I got? So have I hope I mispronounced. Did I get your name right?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Okay. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Off you go.
Okay, so I'm Piara. I'm on the Wirral. I am interim co-chair of Your Party Wirral. A group of us got organised as soon as Zara announced mid-July, I think, wasn't it? And about 2 weeks later, we were organised, ready to be a proto branch. And the reason we moved so quickly is because we wanted to encourage others to get organised as well. For the most part, I am outreach and community support for Shah Jalal Mosque. I'm a trustee for Faiths for Change, which is an environmental group. I'm also associate chaplain for University of Chester, and I do this all voluntarily just because I can. Most of the time, the nature of my work makes people ask if I work for the council, if I'm the councillor. Sometimes people ask if I'm a solicitor or a social worker. So that just gives you an idea of the kind of work that I do. And I'm none of those. I do tell them that I'm not qualified to do any of those things, but I often end up helping. I say often, I don't think I've turned away anybody and not helped them. I was persuaded to stand as a Labour candidate in May 2023. People persuaded me that I was doing the job already and that I'd be able to do more by being part of Labour. What happened then, I don't think we campaigned that well, actually, and I didn't get elected. And I think that was a blessing in disguise, actually, because then October happened, and I tried to speak with the Labour members about what our position should be, and we should be against the genocide. And
Right,
then
I've got it.
I left.
Right. Thank you, Piara. And now I'm moving to it is the northwest as well. This is the northwest. Arif Khan Sahib.
I don't know why my camera's not working. It was working when I came in. I don't know what's going on.
Hold on,
I can
it's
speak
there.
if you want.
Here
we go.
You're on. Okay, right.
All
Hold on
right.
a sec.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me just start again. Right, ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Off we go.
Okay. So my name's Arif. I'm from the northwest. And the reason why I'm standing is because we've did it too much and we've wasted too much time. And I feel that the people who actually started your party have sniped each other, divided the grassroots into Team Zara, into Team Jeremy, and I'm sick of the sniping, okay? And I'm sick of the divisions. When we first started, we had 850,000 people showing an interest, and we're rapidly losing that goodwill. And all the time, the far right and Reform are getting stronger, right? All I can see is foot dragging, secrecy, no accountability. I don't know who's making decisions. Nothing comes from the top, and I'm completely sick of it. There's factional power grabs. People on the slates talking about grassroots. You're having a laugh, right? And talking about accountability and setting up branches. Those people whose slates you are on have done everything they can to hold back branches. We started our proto branch within probably 2-3 days, and we've been waiting for the get go. I'm only here for one faction, which is the working class. And to me, that means confronting wealth inequality. It means public ownership of utilities and a serious redistribution of wealth. And more importantly, ending the housing crisis and housing speculation. I'm a trade union rep and I'm a teacher, and education is being brought to its knees by the lack of investment. The NHS is being privatized piecemeal, and all people can do is fight amongst themselves in your party. Why the hell would anybody want to trust anyone on those slates? I do not know. All right. So I will fight for transparency. What I want to do is empower branches. That would be the first thing I would do, is empower branches. Okay. And hopefully an end to factional capture. Okay. It's a party for the working class.
Yep. Thank you, Arif. I'm trying to be fair to everyone. If I let anyone go over, I'm sure it just become chaos. Now, next is Heiko. Right, so now we're in London. We've gone to London. There's quite a few in London. We've got 5 candidates on this hustings from London. The first is Heiko Koo. Are you there, Heiko?
Yep. You got me now?
Yeah, I've got you. Are you ready to go?
Yep.
All right, go.
I've been involved in socialist politics since I was 17. I'm 62 now. I run the Karl Marx walking tour in London as a sort of mass education project and for my employment. And I've been speaking at Speaker's Corner in London since 1985. So since I was quite a young man in those days. I was involved in a militant tendency way back when I first got involved in politics, and therefore also in the Labour Party at that time. And I've been focused on sort of 2 different levels. So one level is grassroots debate and discussion with the public on explaining socialist ideas. Two is trying to work out what socialism is. So I lived in East Germany, I lived in China, I did politics in France, in Germany, in Spain, in order to understand how the trajectory towards socialism advances or regresses, so the collapse of the Berlin Wall, I witnessed that, and I participated in forming a group in East Germany to try and challenge the collapse of socialism and promote a democratic form of socialism, which we failed to do, obviously. And I'm also interested in particular in utilizing technology. How do you use technology in order to advance the cause of socialism? So I was a sort of early advocate of the use of the internet. At the time, I was in the IMT, International Marxist Tendency, and I established their strategy for internet activity. Marxist.com is their website. I'm not involved with them anymore. They expelled me. And now I'm interested in particular in utilizing YouTube and channels like that intensively, but also in utilizing AI for advancing the interests and causes and defense of the rights of the working classes.
All right. Okay. Well, you did that very well. Thank you, Heiko. And our next speaker, London region again, Dr. Kadira Pethigoda.
Yes.
Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. When you are.
Inequality is the greatest since Victorian times, and nuclear war is the most likely since the dawn of time. My experience in geopolitics, media skills, and understanding of the public mood deployed in service of socialist values can help establish the political direction that the CEC needs at this moment. Conference decides on policy, but as the collective leadership, the CEC must be able to understand policy when instructing MPs. I grew up working class as a Sri Lankan migrant, and that's why I've since worked towards two policy goals. And these have the greatest overlap between YP members' views and the broader public's, and that's economic equality and a pro-peace foreign policy. I worked for these when advising MPs, shadow ministers, the International Criminal Court, when serving as a diplomat, when standing for Parliament as a candidate, and using my platform to publish articles defending socialism in places like the Huffington Post. In terms of economic equality, I mean nationalization based on need. Peace, we shift from a foreign policy focused on war profits and elite interest to one that serves the many. It also means that inside YP, I support power to ordinary members, not factions or MPs, party reps on an average worker's wage. And lastly, my experience handling mainstream media, being on BBC, Al Jazeera, etc., and critiquing it in major publications can help the CEC lead YP through a hostile media landscape. Democracy belongs to all of us. It's beyond time. We reach out and take it.
Well done. You're well in time there. Thank you. You've actually caught me a bit unaware of that. Right, okay. Steve Freeman's on, and I think there's in London. So, are you ready to go, Steve?
Yes, I'm ready to go, comrades. My name is Steve Freeman. I'm standing in London on a Republican platform that's called Republic YP, along with four other comrades: Chris Williamson in the East Midlands, Mike Hope in the East of England, John Tooman in the Northwest, and Jordan Craw in the Northwest. I must mention, of course, Chris Williamson, the former Derby MP and leading supporter of Jeremy Corbyn when he was in the Labour Party. He is now a member of your party, and he's also a member of the Workers' Party of Britain, and he has been excluded from standing in this election, and that has disrupted our campaign. Now, Chris is a full member of your party. He's paying his subs like all of you. Conference accepted dual membership. It's not acceptable that we have two categories of members, those allowed to stand for election and those excluded by unelected officials at the behest of unelected leaders. It's for the elected Central Executive Committee to decide its attitude in line with what the Liverpool Conference said. And it's for YP members in the East Midlands to decide if they want to elect Chris Williamson or not. Now, an injury to one is an injury to all. Obviously, your party is not formed properly yet. It doesn't have a programme. And there are 3 slates facing us, and that's because we don't have a programme. There is one slate, which is Corbynism, represented by a platform called The Many. We're representing a Republican perspective, but there's another one called In the Centre Ground between us, between Corbynism and Republicanism, which is the grassroots left. They're against the monarchy, but they're not Republican. And they are unionist, which, of course, as far as I'm concerned, is incompatible. Republicanism is not primarily about the monarchy. You might be surprised here. So we take ourselves back. We take ourselves back to Tony Benn's 1992. And I'll finish at this point, Crispin. Republicanism is democracy for the many. What is the platform called, The Many? If it's not about democracy, if it claims to be about democracy, it needs to say what it means and means what it says.
Right, I've got to edit that. But thank you, Steve. Steve was the longest so far, but I think I've been doing quite well. Anyway, I don't want to ruin it now. Right, London again. Valerie Coultas is standing. Valerie, are you ready to go?
I am ready to go, yes.
Okay.
My name's Valerie Coultas, Dr. Valerie Coultas, and I'm the Vice Chair of Lambeth Your Party, which Steve is in, at Your Party proto branch with me. I've been a socialist feminist since I was 19 years old when I went on my first picket line. I was elected to the NUS executive in my 20s. I worked as a journalist on Socialist Challenge when I was in the NUJ. I've been a teacher at 6 comprehensive schools in London and fought for my colleagues as an NUT branch rep. And then when I became a lecturer at university, I was in the UCU and on the branch. I was a branch officer of the UCU, and I fought for my colleagues in university. And each time when I fought for people, I didn't necessarily get promoted. And this is something that happens when you stand up for people in trade unions, as everybody here who's in trade unions will know. At that point, after being involved in the UCU, I became the chair of Streatham Labour Party when Corbyn was leader of the Labour Party. And in that Labour Party, there was a very right-wing faction. Somebody called Morgan McSweeney was in my ward. And we fought in a very organised way through Streatham Labour Left to overthrow that right-wing clique and institute all-member meetings. And I chaired meetings of 450 people. On many occasions, there were large numbers of people, and every single person in that meeting had a right to speak, the right to put their views forward, and every single time we had a free debate, free votes, and the left was winning. And we were right behind Corbyn, and we were supporting him fully. And we will never forget how important that was in reviving opportunity to fight for socialism in this country. And I want us to build branches, elect people who built branches. I want us to have a clear programme where we fight for clear slogans like welfare, not warfare.
Okay.
The comrade that said, we must put the interests of the working class first and forget about dismiss divisions and move forward.
Thank you. A bit over the time. And our final candidate from London and our final candidate from who's come on the hustings is Anahita Zardoshti. Are you ready to go, Anahita?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me. I'm Anahita, and I'm the co-founder and chair of the Islington Your Party proto branch, and I'm a dedicated anti-fascist, anti-genocide, and anti-imperialist activist, and I'm standing on the grassroots left slate for London alongside the fantastic Mel Mullings. I grew up in Iran, where it's really impossible to not be political when oppression is often a daily fact of life, and not being political is increasingly impossible here as well, as we see the crippling effects of privatization, the death toll of austerity, and our freedom freedoms of expression are being slowly stripped away, like we've seen with the wrongful imprisonment without a trial of the hunger strikers for Palestine, who we've been actively campaigning for in our proto branch. Your party is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to build an explicitly socialist party that can present a real alternative to capitalism. And we have to be ambitious with the same. But for this to be successful, we also have to create a unified party of the whole left. A party that understands that the fight against the far right, the genocide in Palestine, the privatization of the NHS, and the indignity imposed upon working class people are all the same struggle. We need to build a party that brings together trade unionists, tenants organizations, Palestine activists, and socialists of all stripes under the same roof. And we aren't going to get that in the party if we continue to take notes out of the Labour right playbook with the unfounded expulsions that we've seen this week, with comrades such as Dave Nellis, Ian Drummond, and Ian Spencer, the latter of which I'm really thankful have been overturned. To me, the only way we're going to get a truly socialist party and one that can actually change anything is if it's embedded in our communities and fights for the needs of working class at all times, not just when it comes to elections. This requires us to trust our members and to trust that they understand their communities' needs best, and that we need to empower branches by giving them at least 50% of membership fees and full access to membership data in their area. We also need a leadership that is part of the working class and not above it, which is why I will personally push for elected officials and staff to receive an average worker's wage. This election to me is not about personalities, but it's about a core ideological difference at the heart of this party. Do we want to create a truly member-led, grassroots-led and democratically run party, or do we want a top-down imposition of Labour 2.0? And yeah, I just want to wish all the other candidates best of luck. I'm confident we can turn this party into something great.
Okay, thank you. So we've managed to get all those candidates done in under 50 minutes. And we had the opening music as well before, so I think I should retire now. What I want to do is show some of the results of a survey that I put out, which also informed the questions that we're going to be asking the candidates after this. I'm just going to do this. Hold on a sec. Here we are. I think this is very telling because it shows how important this issue is to most people, that 43.9%, what's your biggest concern about how the party could develop over the next year? 43.9%, their concern is factionalism and infighting. Miles ahead of the next, which is unclear political direction and confusing messaging. I think that's what I got from hearing everyone there. All different. There were slates people, there were independents, there were different regions. It's what a great lot of people we've got in this party. I think that we should all agree that we're great. We've got great people who could serve this party really well. Which three areas should the new executive committee prioritise first? Branch formation and local structures was quite far ahead of campaign strategy and priorities for the 2026 election, and then rules for internal democracy, how decisions are made, and political priorities and messaging were next. But I think branch formation is a priority that people are identifying. Which two issues should the party most in its public messaging this year? Cost of living is the main one, NHS and health, and then public ownership is the third one. I can just about read that. And what should candidates be expected to commit to if elected? The top one there is a clear political direction, public message, then a clear democratic structure and strong accountability, and building local branches. It seems a bit contradictory to the earlier one. But anyway, that's a little break from the hustings, but we're going to go back in with 6 questions that were asked by individuals who are a subscriber for the Crispin Flintoff Show, and I've picked 6 of them, and I'm going to randomly give them to the candidates, and we're going to go in the same order as we had at the start. So we're going to start with Cassie Bellingham in the southeast. How are you doing, Cassie?
Good. Do I get a lollipop for jumping in first both times?
Well, if I could, but I can't. I can't do it at this digital way. I would if you were. It's a public meet. If it's a proper physical meeting, you would. Now the question I'd like to ask you is, what are your priorities for building local branches and democratic structures, and how will you do this? And I'll do 2 minutes again on that. So I have sent all the candidates these questions, by the way, so people have had a look at them, but they're not for very long. I'll ask it again so everyone can remember it while I don't go in between you and right. What are your priorities for building local branches and democratic structures, and how will you do this?
Well, my priority, if I'm lucky enough to be, elected, is getting the governance in place really quickly so that we can get those branches up and running and get the support out that we need. We have a local proto branch locally as well. We're really proud of the work we've done, but we don't believe for a minute that we've got a mandate to represent the members in our area because we haven't found them all. We don't have that data. We're a stopgap. So I want to get that up and running. And apart from the obvious thing around the resources you need to do the job, for me, a real passion for me is around embedding equality access into those structures. So giving branches and regions really strong support around accessibility and removing barriers for people. And that's beyond, just finding a venue with a ramp and a accessibility in a parking spot. I'm talking about hearing loops. I'm talking about neurodiversity protocols, all of the different things that impact and were so hard to get in our traditional political structures. I'm partially sighted. There's really small little things that make such a difference in making politics accessible for me. We've got many on our slate that have other disabilities and difficulties that bring those lived experiences, and that's a real passion thing. We don't want to impose policy on people. That's the members to tell us what they want to do. But some of these structures, I'm really, really keen to think about and to embed. So the basics need to be there, and I understand the frustration around data and finance. We've got to get that right. We've got to get the governance in place. We're going to be under such scrutiny because we've had such a bumpy start. That's got to be right, and it's got to be quick. And I'm trusting that we won't be starting from scratch, that there will be things that have been happening in the past. We don't know what your party team have been doing, but we do know those volunteers have been working hard. So I really want to get in there and get started.
Excellent. You've said it. The ball perfect. Everything's going well. Your timing. Thank you so much. Cassie standing in the southeast. I've just seen on the chat that the nominations, you can now vote for your nominations on the website, I believe. If anyone can put a link for the actual address, the web address, that would be good. So our next candidate who's standing in the southeast is Dr. Amar Norwali, and
yes,
I'd like to ask you the question I'd like to ask you is, how do you ensure branches access the 850,000 mailing list?
Yes, actually, we need to do a lot of canvassing, inviting people to join the party. We have a good chance now because we have a local election now coming. So we have some strategies already. We already created the group in some areas here in Milton Keynes and around Leighton Buzzard, and we need to expand that one, and we need to use the same structures. So we are creating strategies how to, in which area where we can do more effort for canvassing and bringing people to vote for your party actually. And we are aligning with other parties as well. The parties aligning with us, like a Green Party, for example. We are not targeting the areas they are targeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So Emma standing in the southeast. I'm going to move on to Jonathan Osako. And your question, Jonathan, is
Yes.
Are you there? Right,
Yeah, I'm here.
your question is how can you help restore unity and common goals between the two main factions within your party?
Yeah, let me just close the window quickly first.
Oh, that's an unexpected. Right, let me. Right, you ready? How can you help restore unity and common goals between the two main factions within your party?
Yeah, sure. I will just keep the answer quite short. So, although I stand as independent, not aligned with any factions or slates, I think we have to acknowledge the reality. So, both Jeremy Corbyn's, the many, and Zara Sultana grassroots left have diverging vision for the party. And after the election, there will be independent candidates in the CEC and members from both slates who will be sitting in the CEC. So, what is important? The question is whether if the candidates could all work together as a single team, as team your party, not team grassroots slate, team for the many, or team independent. So I'm ready to work with everyone, regardless of affiliation. And unity doesn't come from imposing one vision upon the other. It comes from embracing all voices, celebrating our diversity, and allowing different approaches to coexist. And this could only be possible under a federal structure where local branches have the autonomy. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. So Jonathan Osako is standing in the southeast region as well. June Tobin, east of England.
I'm a bit like a gypsy.
Right, June, your question is, which one campaign will unite most non-party people behind your party?
Whoa, okay. Well, I think the cost of living will, because that's affecting hundreds of thousands of people. And we all agree on that utilities have got out of order, the cost of food has got out of order, rent's got out of order. I mean, it's just, I don't know how people live. As you know, I ran a charity with a food bank and a community fridge and a community centre, and we helped people with all sorts of things. So I think we should unite around the cost of living crisis. And I think branches, getting them off the ground really quick, because they know their communities, they know what their communities need, and we need to get our branches up and running quickly. Let's stop pussyfooting around. I don't want my data given to anybody because the branches aren't elected yet. On the Your Party website, there is a box on your profile that you tick that said, make my profile public to all of your party members in a secure part of the website. So I ticked make mine public. We can get together. We can get these branches going in areas like mine where we haven't got massive support. Like, I'm so jealous of these places. I've said this on your show every week of the places that have got branches that have they're hung over from years and years of campaigning for Labour, and now they're all out of Labour, but they've still stayed in touch. I live in a Reform Tory area. There's 63 people in my area, and I've only managed to recruit 16.
Okay.
So, cost of living crisis. By the way, the website, your party's just pulled down the election page.
What do you mean? You can't
Can't
vote.
access it.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry to get everyone's hopes up there. Thank you, June. But bad news there. And I'm going to move on to Robin in the east of England.
Yeah.
Let me see. There you go. Robin, my question for you is, how will you support the people of Palestine and contribute to stopping the genocide?
I'm a member of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign, so I will continue to support them. I'm also a member of the local Lowestoft Palestine Solidarity Campaign and in the WhatsApp group too. If I was on the Central Executive Committee, my biggest concern is that the board that is being set up by Trump and all of the rest of them is something that is not going to help the Palestinians at all. My view is that we need to continue to campaign to have the Palestinians themselves determine what happens in Gaza and what happens in the rest of Palestine. And we must ask them, how would they like us to support them, and then follow their lead. I'll leave it at that.
All right, thank you. So I'll move on to the Southwest and Helen Bowers. Are you there?
Yeah.
Right, now your question is, where do you stand on workers' representatives on workers' wages?
I knew you'd ask me that one. I wanted the last one, but that's all right.
Well,
that's
sorry.
all right. I sort of made a couple of notes. I mean, I don't feel particularly well informed about this because I'm sort of out of the workforce, but we have workers' representatives. I'm a member of Unison. I've been a member of the National Union of Teachers. I think most trade unions need to adopt a grassroots up method of working, because that's what has put me off slates, having been member of union and seen quite a lot of manipulation over committees and central committees being organised. So I think I am, and of course you've got the non-unionised workers, and I believe that there are, in my experience, possibilities of starting sort of in cooperatives and things like that, the having councils and ad hoc working when issues arise. I could be talking a lot of rubbish here, but I'm trying to engage with this question. In terms of wages, well, everybody deserves a living wage. I mean, it's, what is a living wage? How do we assess what is a living wage? I mean, one of the previous questions that I thought was going to be asked about whether MPs from your party should accept a living wage and then donate the rest to and that really and that actually comes into it, because how do we decide a living wage? There's a really good quote from Einstein, which I just got to say it, Kristen. It says we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. And all of these questions, we need to reinvent the wheel as a complete shift in paradigm. So I hope I've contributed something towards that question.
I think it was a difficult question. I think you were very valiant in your response. I like the way you carried on, you kept going, and
it was the worst.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. In fact, I won't use that question on anyone else again. Okay?
Thanks. Right. Okay.
But I think you should get credit for doing your best on it. Thank you. Yeah, it wasn't a good question. Sorry, Natalie did it, but I'm not going to use that one. Right, so I'm going to go to Alex Fox in the West Midlands.
Hello again.
Hello. Now, are you ready for your question? Should we make
Sure.
it a bit more tense? Is there any question you don't want? Or, no? Yeah? Okay.
Look. It wouldn't be democratic if I could opt out of a question, would it, Crispin?
All right. Okay. You're being more serious than I am. Right, okay. Which one campaign will unite most non-party people behind your party?
I mean, I look at the international news every day, and it makes me almost sob. But if we're realistic, right, we have to look domestically to bring people into your party, because, I mean, the number one thing for me really, it's got to be cost of living and wealth inequality. Generally, if you look at an economy where productivity rises, usually you would expect to see wages rising. The UK doesn't follow that model, and a lot of Western countries don't. So since 2008, productivity has flatlined because wages flatlined, right? The average age to buy a house is like late 30s, early 40s. I mean, from personal experience, me and my partner bought the house I'm in right now last year, when I was 39, still 39 now, right? We rented for years and years and years, and it's mad. So, I just want the public discourse to kind of acknowledge things like you can inherit wealth, but actually you can also inherit poverty. And I don't think we acknowledge things like that enough. We really, really need to renationalize our public infrastructure. It's decades overdue. We should not have privatized utilities. We should not have privatized rail and public transport, privatized transport. It's a mad state of affairs. You look at any country in Europe that has nationalized infrastructure and transport, and it works so well. It's so affordable. The economy gets a boon as a result because people can afford to go places, to work, to spend, to shop. It's it should be the absolute priority of your party moving forward to be in government to tackle wealth inequality, cost of living, and let's have a wealth tax.
All right. Thank you. Very, very well in time. Thank you. Our next candidate is standing in Yorkshire and Humber. It's Rashida Islam. How you doing, Rashida? All right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. You worried about any of the questions?
Just fire away. It's fine.
I'll fire away. Okay. Right. My one for you is: how do you ensure branches access the 850,000 mailing list?
Sorry. And that's my worst one. I would have actually preferred the workers' wage one. That's fine. I'll just keep the time. I think in terms of, I don't know how to answer that question because I don't know what access we do currently have to that data. All I know is that we currently have 50,000 members, which is a massive gap between where we could have, where potentially we did start. So there's a lot of, ground to build in. And I think hopefully, with the CEC elections, however that ends, it will be hopefully a unifying exercise for us all, regardless of where you stand. So I think that's where, that's why I'm really keen to get branches up and running. So currently I'm in a proto branch. Halifax is the branch that I helped set up. And we've been quite frustrated with the fact that, people will use data access as the crutch for why we can't access, why we can't reach out to members, fine, whatever. But I think there are things that National could be doing that to help us facilitate that. So that's, why it's really important that branches, as well as individual members, are kind of the key engine of that, and how we reach out to those remaining, hundreds and thousands of people. I think, we do need to stand a united front on both sides, internally as well as who we reach out to, and just put no barriers on who we let in. So not using wedge issues to divide ourselves, because we've already got muck thrown at us by the higher ups. We don't need to do that. We don't need to play their game. So really, that's kind of how we do it, and you do it on united front on these key issues: cost of living, on Palestine, on opposing war, on fighting climate change. And there's something else I've probably forgotten, but yeah, those are the key issues that we need to unite around. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. And now we got the public office holders. Grace Lewis. Thank you, Grace, for staying on. No, but you're not worried about any questions. You're a counsellor; you can answer any. You're used to all this stuff.
Away.
What are your priorities for building local branches and democratic structures, and how will you do this?
So firstly, our slate is advocating for 50% member subs, as I mentioned before, with immediate recognition of branches and member access to data. so they can send out emails, advertise events at the bare minimum. Activists need to organise on the ground, and we also need to put organising above factionalism. If half the amount of time was spent organising local campaigns in our communities, we'd be one step closer to socialism. And I first joined the Labour Party in 2019 when I was 16 because of Jeremy, and campaigned for him during that election and the 2024 general election. And now, you know, we need Zara and Jeremy to build from past campaigns and campaign for a better future. And that's why we need to be a member-led party with power and mailing lists going to branches to ensure that we can put organising over factionalism.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Grace. And our next public office holder candidate is Laura Smith.
Yeah. Hiya.
Hiya.
I haven't seen the questions, Crispin.
I did send them. I did send them. I
them.
did. Okay. Well, in that case, I won't give you the really tough one.
You can do what you want. Honestly, go for it.
All right.
Why not?
Okay. This is a tough one. This is the hardest one. All right. Are you ready?
Go on.
How can you help restore unity and common goals between the two main factions within the party?
I actually think that's quite an easy one because I'll tell you a little story, right? So I got involved with Jeremy Corbyn in 2017 when I stood to be the MP for Crewe and Nantwich. I was kicked out of Parliament in 2019 because Parliament doesn't want people like me. We know that. A working class woman who was a single mother at the time. And I really, really believed in what Jeremy said then, and I believe in what Jeremy says now. I left Twitter for quite a while, and when I left, it was just right-wing trolls that I had. And I came back this week to Twitter, and I was amazed at how, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't feel angry, but just how full of hate and rage the argument seems to have got. And I'm not dismissing it, but we have to find a way to move forward because I firmly believe that we have a lot more in common. And I think that the negativity being fed constantly, it stops us from looking outwards. It stops us from focusing on what we need to do. There are people who need our policies. We need to be framing a new economic policy that will lift people out of poverty and give people an alternative. We have to be talking outwards. We can't keep arguing with ourselves. And I promise you, I'm not dismissing the concerns, but I do feel that we have to get a little bit more disciplined with this stuff because we're already going to have the right-wing press are against us, the establishment are against us, the major political parties will be against us. We have to come up with a way of being able to debate and talk and not rip each other to shreds. Because guess what? None of us are perfect. We're not all going to get it right all the time. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fall out. We'll have arguments. Do you know what I do every day? I learn, Crispin, from people. I'm willing to change my mind, but we've got to get more discipline and we've got to start talking to the people who matter, and they are the people who need us.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. Good. You didn't know the question, so it's very good. Thank you. Now our next candidate is in the Northwest. It's Jenny Curtis. Can you hear me, Jenny?
Yeah. Am I unmuted?
Right.
Yeah.
You're unmuted. Yeah. So I'm just wondering what question to ask you. Right. Okay. I'll ask
you. Nice
you.
One.
Yeah, I'll ask you a nice one. Yeah. Let's go for how will you support the people of Palestine and contribute towards stopping the genocide?
Well, that's a nice question, but it's not one of the easy ones for me. But I'll try and answer it as best I can. First of all, I'd just like to remind people that the CEC are not there to make policy. We're there to support whatever the members decide the policy is. And I know full well that the members fully support Palestine. Also, as the previous speaker said, that it's really important that we take into account what the Palestinians themselves want, because otherwise we're back to this old colonialism and that we know best and all the rest of it, which we don't. We don't live there. We don't know what's what. We don't know what people want, apart from when we listen to them and what they tell us. So I would support and make sure it was passed through, I suppose the best word, any member's policy decision on that as to how we should handle it. It might sound a bit like a cop-out, but it isn't, because we have to bear in mind that different people are going to have different roles. CEC is administrative, bureaucratic, hopefully not faceless anymore. The members and the branches are going to be paramount, and what they want us to do is what we should be doing. Like I said before, we need to trust the members. I think that's about it. Is that right?
All right, yeah, very good. Yeah, thank you. Now the way it's looking is we're going to have time for contributions from the floor, if you like. I think that might be the best way to fill the time, because we're going to have some time over. So if people want to speak about anything that's been raised in the hustings, I think that might be the best thing. And do remember that it's not about mudslinging and stuff. We need to look forward and build, not attack each other. So I wouldn't be happy if people come in and start attacking other candidates, really. So look, I'm going to move on to Piara Mia in the north west. Now, are you ready for your question? Right, which one campaign will unite most non-party people behind your party?
It is the cost of living. And you know, all that outreach work that I was talking about before, a lot of that has to do, a lot of my work has to do with policies that have been really, you know, anti-people policies. I've helped so many people who are suffering from the effects of bad policies. I'll give you an example. There's a family that I've supported from the beginning of COVID, asylum seekers. The son has got leave to remain, and he's been told to leave his family home. His mum already lives in the house, but he's been told that he no longer can live in this house because it's like from a Serco or some other housing association given to them by the government. Things like that is just ridiculous. He legally can't remain in his home even though his mum is living there. There's other things like there are people who have reached out to me because they can't afford baby formula. It is very sad to know that people are in that desperate situation. I do feel like it has to be anti-austerity and anti-war, because where I am in Bebington, I'm 10 minutes in one direction. There's the Teledyne weapons manufacturers. They manufacture components for the F-35, and in 10 minutes in another direction is Camel Leads, where they are manufacturing the hull and casing of nuclear submarines. Yet Birkenhead is one of the most deprived areas, towns in the country. So I don't think people realize just how the priorities of the government who are investing in weapons, successive governments. So thank you.
Well, thank you. That was a great answer. Thank you very much. That's Piara standing in the northwest. And our next candidate is Arif Khan Sahib in the northwest again. Thank you for staying on. And are you ready for your question?
So, well, as ready as I'll be. Go on.
Right, okay. How can you help restore unity and common goals between the two main factions within the party?
But first of all, acknowledging that there are differences and there's always going to be differences, but emphasizing that what unites us is greater than what divides us. Okay. And I would focus on three things that I believe will unite the party is the anti-austerity that we all advocate for, as all the other candidates, a lot of the candidates have spoken about. So having a pro-working party kind of economic program and a firm commitment to internal democracy, right? Again, establishing branches, having branches being the source of power. We've got 850,000 people who expressed an interest. That's a hell of a lot of people we've got to reach out to. I'm just sick to death of the petty bickering. It has to be moving beyond the factions and realizing that we're here to serve the working class. We are for the working class. We need to unite because reform is moving apace. Nationalisation, I'm a strong advocate for nationalisation. Just look at who owns our utilities, where those profits are going. We need a wealth tax. We need to invest in education. The lady before, Miss Mia, she mentioned Birkenhead being deprived in school. I see Dickensian levels of poverty in some of the children, unwashed, unfed. I've had myself and colleagues give children lunch, our own lunches, okay, which can't be right in the UK, one of the richest countries in the world. So we need to unite behind policies that help the working class, regardless of what faction you want and how you want it to be. We can't have everything, we can't agree on everything, but we need to come together on the points that unite us. Okay. We might not agree with the structure, but remember who our enemy is. It's the capitalists. Thank you.
Right, good in time, really, pretty much. Thank you, Arif. And we're back in London with Heiko Koo.
Hi there.
Hiya. Now, your question is, how do you ensure branches access the 850,000 mailing list? I mean, when you're on, if you get elected to the committee, what would you do?
I think an earlier speaker, a candidate said they don't know, and I'll have to admit I don't know either. But I'll put it in a slightly different way. When the website was set up, I looked at the website and it actually had some very good components to it, these potential components. And one of the components was you could list your events. And so if anybody's been on there, you can put your own events on and local branches or events taking place or discussions or Zoom calls or whatever as a mechanism for reaching out to people who would be interested to expand the network. And there's also like recruit new members. And so how does that reach outwards? And so it's all about that sort of each one, reach one kind of campaign. And, and that's how I think this thing should be done. The problem is that when I did list my events, they were never listed. And only a couple of central events were listed. So it's really about letting go of this, the attempts of some people to sort of control the direction of things. The dynamics and trajectory of this party were illustrated by the very beginning of it. The beginning of it was the essence of it. It was the rebirth of the support base that emerged around Jeremy Corbyn when he was elected leader in 2015. That's what this represented. And personally, I tried to argue to Jeremy and others that they should launch something much earlier. In other words, when he was booted out, basically, in 2020, early 2020, then was the time to launch the campaign. But I was surprised that these 800,000 people signed up in the summer. Even one of my sons signed up, and other friends signed up who were not previously involved in politics. So it's about finding that path back to that mass connection.
All right. Very, very well summed up quickly. Right, thank you, Heiko. And we're moving on to Dr. Kadira.
Yeah.
In London again.
Yeah.
Are you ready for your question?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you I'm going to ask you, how can you, I think this is a good question that tests people. How can you help restore unity and common goals between the two main factions within the party?
Okay, so as I mentioned in my speech, I would unite the party around two goals: economic equality and a pro-peace foreign policy, because these are shared throughout the membership between the two factions. They're incredibly popular with the public. Inequality is the greatest since Victorian times. Food banks are everywhere. No one can afford a house. People are fed up. And this would also differentiate us from the major parties because they all agree on that side on the same things. They're all pro-war and they're all pro-capitalism. So it can help us win power as well. And I think they're also the most fundamental to altering the power balance in this country, which means everything else flows after that. And they're also the areas that I've worked on throughout most of my life. And I think also in terms of bridging the gap between the two factions, the CEC as the collective leadership should keep the structures fair, make sure that decisions are always democratic, make sure that debates are political rather than personal, and that, whenever we have differences, what we fight about is strategy to achieve those main aims. And so we have a sharper strategy rather than ending up causing fractures and throwing the baby out with the bath water, or throwing the toys out of the pram, I mean.
Right, yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Next London candidate is Steve Freeman, who did point out that he's got a slate as well. There is a slate, a Republican slate. What I'd like to do is ask you this question, Steve. Which one campaign will unite most non-party people behind your party?
Well, I would say that one of the big things that nobody's talking about is the crisis of our democracy and the complete failure of our parliamentary system and the collapse of our constitution. So you can have as many good economic policies as you like, you'll never be able to implement them in a political system that's broken. And it's into that broken mess that parties like Reform and the far right are going to grow, because if your democracy is broken, people say, well, why don't we have a dictatorship? So if we're going to challenge Reform, the only way we can do that is with a democratic program and make a priority of that program. And I would say one thing to put forward as Republicans is that England needs its own parliament, similar but better than the ones in Scotland and Wales, in Edinburgh and Cardiff. And it has to be elected by proportional representation, and it has to be based on the sovereignty of the people. If we do not renew our democracy, we are finished. We will be overcome by the far right. And the left in England does not do democracy, doesn't have anything useful to say about it. The many doesn't have anything useful to say about it. So if we don't get our act together, we are going down the pan rapidly. Our democracy is disappearing. Look at what's happened to the Palestinian activists. The Crown is becoming more and more authoritarian, and it's becoming more and more anti-democratic. We are losing our democracy if we ever had it, which we never had. And we've got to do something serious about it. And if your party is going to do anything at all, it has to come up with a radical democratic programme. You've noticed, by the way, that in Wales and in Scotland, the left in Wales and Scotland is not convinced by your party. It's failing in Wales, it's failing in Scotland, because in Wales and Scotland, they have democratic movements that want some radical change. So really, we need a radical democratic programme. We need a parliament in England. It needs to be elected. We need a new constitution, and I'll stop at that point. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Well timed. And our next, we've got our penultimate speaker is Valerie Coultas in London. Valerie, are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
Your question, I'll ask you is what are your priorities for building local branches and democratic structures, and how will you do this?
Well, I think in the proto branches we're already doing it, because we make sure that everybody who comes in signs up so we can contact them. We use all the mechanisms available to contact people, and we allow free discussion, free debate, and in general, it's been very respectful. And we also make sure that there are people coming from the community into our meetings. For example, we've had a very good discussion on housing. We're having a very good discussion coming up on, hopefully, on Vote Palestine in Lambeth, which is a campaign that's developing in our local area, and connecting with other groups in our area. We're connecting with the Greens, we're connecting with people taking action around Palestine particularly. So the more we bring in the community and the activists into and trade unions into our branches, the more we'll actually reach out to the people in the area. And I think that the idea of really, really involving the community in your party, and we have to remember the success of the 2019 manifesto, which really hit the issues that concern people. I mean, on the cost of living, for example, we've got to start thinking about what's happening to our shops. We've got chains of supermarkets all over the place, which are making huge price increases and profiteering. So as well as thinking about how to deal with the utilities, we've got to start actually dealing with the cost of living crisis and thinking about how we can fight against this profiteering and these huge rise in prices all over the place, which is not controlled. So maybe a prices and incomes policy, I don't know. We have to have very realistic policies on the economy as well. Again, in the 2019 manifesto, we had the idea of a people's bank where we could invest money in a people's bank to build projects for the government, like a proper socialist Green New Deal. So I think it's a combination of realistic policies in the party and really connecting with the community that will build branches. And that's why we need to elect people to the CEC that have built the branches, like many of the people on this show tonight.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Valerie. And our last speaker to ask, who I'm going to ask a question of, is Anahita. How are you doing? You still there?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Now, my question for you, I think it's a good question. Is how can you help restore unity and common goals between the two main factions within your party?
I think we've got to remember the scale of the problems that we're actually facing. The real, I guess, competition or struggle isn't within this party, but it's outside of it, where we've got to fight the rising tide of fascism. We've got to stand up to imperialism, empower workers, build a mass socialist party. And I think we can bring unity if we actually start doing stuff and working together. And I think this is what's been happening on the ground with a lot of activists who've already been engaged with a lot of proto branches that have set up. At our proto branch, for example, in Islington, we've been turning up to the NEU and UCU strikes. We've been campaigning for hunger strikers for Palestine along various Palestinian liberation groups. We've got a talk by a member of ACON tomorrow at our branch, and we're spreading the word about the Unity March on the 7th of Feb. We're working with a broad range of people, and it is always open, and everyone is invited to work alongside us. And I think that is what we need to do. We need to stop being suspicious of each other and suspicious of our members. And we need to start understanding what the real fight here is. I think we have to trust that people know what their struggles are, and they are the best place to actually fix those struggles. We need to empower branches. We need to, as I've said before, we need to give them over 50% membership funds. We need to give them access to their data. We need to allow people to do the work that needs to be done. And unfortunately, we can't wait. We can't wait for things to get sorted and magically the party to be set up, because it's already here. Fascism is knocking on the door, and to be quite honest, it's already here, and the fight has begun. And that is a fight that is not internally. And so I don't think we have an option really but to unite. This has to be a united party, and this has to be a party where we absolutely trust each other. And that means no to witch hunts, that means no to expulsions, and that means completely working alongside each other. And I just want to say, I think I overran the last time. I really want to say best of luck to everyone who is standing, all the independents who are standing, and everyone in this party, because We just need to make sure that we set up a party that is democratic and member-led and grassroots-led. And so I just hope that our grassroots members and our activists are able to fill up those CEC seats so that we can have a party for everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, so thank you to all of the candidates. I thought excellent candidates we've got there, all over the country, all different skills, different backgrounds, and you know, to think there's all that division is it's not very helpful. I mean, people are worried about the division. It was in that survey. People were saying that's the main concern about the factional stuff. Now I'm going to take some points from people who are watching, and also if someone can update me, has the website got the facility for people to vote on this yet? No, people shaking their heads. Okay, all right. So I'm sorry to have sort of given that idea that we could all come out of here and vote, but maybe at some point we'll just keep going, shall we, till the end of the day and go into tomorrow. Norman had his hand up first.
Hello, Crispin.
Hiya.
Hiya. Well, it's a great show, and I was very impressed by the candidates, as were you. But I do feel I'm being asked to judge these candidates as my representative, and I don't really believe in doing that. Not anymore. I mean, that's what they used to do in the Labour Party when we voted on people who sounded great, and then once they got into a position of power, council or parliament, they became something else because, you know, being human, they went for their ambitions and not for what we wanted them to do. And I'm afraid this is just going to replicate exactly the same thing. And what I'm really sad about is that I didn't hear any of them mention direct democracy, because that's what I think we should all be working for, is a system whereby everybody can vote on everything, where it's practical, everything. And therefore you'd have Zoom meetings where people discuss stuff and you vote at the end of it. It's not rocket science, as they say. And also, what that direct democracy means is because you've got the technology for people to take part wherever they are, it opens the doors to all those disabled people or people who can't get out of the house for one reason or another. They can all take part as well. And actually, nobody mentioned people with disabilities on the show either, which I think was a big, big mistake. So that's what I believe passionately. We must aim for direct democracy. People take decisions for themselves. They don't rely on representatives to do it for them, because representative democracy has got huge failings. And that's basically all I wanted to say. Thanks, Crispin. A good show and very, very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been told I've got to keep doing the timer now. All right. Thank you, Norman. Right. Right, Tony, I've got the timer on. Okay. I'm going to point it at you if you go over. Tony. Should be able to unmute now.
Unmute.
There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi there. Greetings all. And full disclosure, I'm standing as a Southwest Independent CEC member. And I would like to remind us all, that we've probably all been there, that the role of the CEC, a primary role, is such as school governors or charity trustees, which is we are the critical friend of your party. We need to make sure we don't need to do the hands-on work. We need to make sure that the organisation is run efficiently and, of course, democratically in a socialist fashion. So we need to make sure we've got checks and balances, communication system, the long-term finance, the long-term survival, which includes, of course, the finance and the political strategy, followed by the tactics and all that. That will happen, I believe, if we have unity in the team of CEC and, of course, across the whole organisation. But to get unity on the CEC, many of us been on team building exercise, etc. And that is if we all have a clear and shared understanding about what our role is, and we agree acceptable behaviours, and we use efficiencies of the experience of what works already in managing organisations. And I've had some management training. And I think we should nick the best from the private sector, because clearly it works when they make profits. Not that we like that, but align it with our values. It must be within our values, but they got some blooming good ideas out there. Also, of course, we need younger people than myself, and especially on this technology and social media, to promote the organization and to engage with young people, listen to them, and be around. Plus, finally, in the last seconds, I don't see anything on safeguarding yet. I'd like to see something safeguarding organisation-wide with your party. Thank you.
Right, I want to make a point here because I could see a kind of pitch going on there. There will be. I will put another hustings on. I will put another hustings on. So if you're going to do a pitch, try to leave it for the next one, or people might just say, "Oh, I've heard this before." It's obviously very difficult. If you think there's 10, say there's 10 candidates in 9 regions, that's 90 candidates. I could never do 90 candidates, so I'm trying to get as many as I can, but also so we know that a bit more than the basics. Okay, so Michael, he's another candidate.
Yeah, sure. But I just want to say, like you, this has been absolutely an amazing evening. What fantastic candidates are putting themselves forward. And I think, it's really exciting to see the breadth of the experience that's represented among all these candidates. Not only the experience, but specialist knowledge and so on that they can bring. And more importantly, I think you can see they spoke from their heart. This wasn't just a speech. You can see these people are out there doing stuff all the time, and they're here because they really want to make a difference. And I think one of the things that we haven't really looked at is we'd like all of us, we'd like to win, and we can't. But here is a fantastic group of people who've put themselves up to be, in a way, leaders to help take your party forward. And I think one of the key priorities of the CEC needs to be to say, how can we take all of these people who put themselves forward, who've shown their experience, knowledge, commitment? How can we provide really meaningful things that they can do to help? Because we've got a lot to do. The CEC can't do it. We need everybody to do it. So how can we find a good structured way to get all of these fantastic people and all the others that we won't get a chance to see really moving your party forward? Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Chris.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Crispin. Excellent show as always, and it's a shame you haven't had your 2 minutes. You deserve your 2 minutes, but we all know you anyway. Obviously, over the last few weeks, there's been instances where I've been so frustrated. I want to get on, feel restricted, and the morale can go low. Today, this evening has been great in lifting the morale, seeing so many people putting themselves forward with a great set of skills that complement each other. You can see a team that can work well together to be the collective leadership we're electing. And that's just what we want. And I feel enthused by the people who've put themselves forward and spoken tonight. And also recognizing that, there's only going to be a team of 20 there. And there's far more people putting themselves forward who are skilled and deserve a place within that 20, which is great, because the energy and the commitment those people are making and they're going to need to put into post when they're elected, you can't keep that up forever. And we've got a set of spares. We've got people coming through. We've got the continuity for the future CEC year after year after year. I'm very enthused from what I've seen tonight. So thanks for the show.
All right, Jack, thank you. And there'll be more to come, eh? Ludi, I think one of these was your questions. I seem to
very pleased. Yeah. You managed to use one of my questions, which is, what's the main campaign to get non-party people involved? I just want to say I'm really impressed by the independent candidates and want to warn about those who are thinking, I better vote for a slate because an independent doesn't stand a chance. I think this sense of, we've got to vote for people on the basis of who they like, not who they are, is what needs getting rid of. need a culture that respects people for their work on the streets and respects inclusiveness, encouragement, and a sense that we all have value and we're all strong. So I think, I mean, I've changed my mind because of these hustings, actually, that it'd be really the message we need to give is that a very large number of people are not voting for slates, but voting for those who are standing as independents. And that's certainly what I'm going to look to do.
Oh, thank you. I just want to make a little point because I haven't seen, I don't think it's on the website. You can't nominate yet, but I am concerned about something. I don't know what the website looks like, but if we don't know what the number of nominations are as it's going on this week, then we're in a real state if you're an independent, because you won't have a clue whether you're close or not. I don't know, but I really hope that the website will update the number of nominations as they go up. Because can you imagine if you don't know and it's like the last day, you don't know if you've got 74 or etc. It's important that I think. But anyway, June, what would you like to say? Oh, you're the candidate as well. Hey, should you be allowed to come on again?
Well, I just wanted to say that I want to hear your 2 minutes.
Well, no, I don't really want to. I don't really want to do that because it would be unfair.
Well, it's not just because.
I just think.
Well, hang on a second. Jennifer Forbes is standing, and she held a hustings. So
well, I don't.
What's the difference?
I don't know. I just don't like the idea of looking like I'm
Well,
framing it all for me.
at the next one, will you do it, please?
Yeah, but can I do want to make my only point is this. I think with the whole point of this is to get as many people engaged in politics. That's what the system, the establishment want, is that we're not interested, we're apathetic. We have to do all we can to make as many people interested in joining this party. And I think this process has to be as exciting as we can to get more members. It could be an opportunity to get more members. And I really hope, as I said with that thing just now about the website, I hope it says this candidate has got 10 nominations, that one's got 12.
Yeah, because then we can vote strategically.
People can go for the ones that haven't got the numbers. So
So for instance, I think Michael Lavlett from Lancashire will get his 150 votes because he's a decent guy. He's well known. He's always been an independent. But when he gets to the 150, if there's someone else you want to vote for, we ought to be able to put the votes across. I'm not holding out any hope about this website having a counting system, to be fair. I really don't.
God. No, I think it's a nightmare if it isn't.
Yeah, but it's been a fabulous show. Everyone should be enthused. Don't give up. Don't feel that because you're an independent, you're not going to get anywhere. Being an independent is a form of resistance.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right. Look, people are saying, can you ask him that really tough question about the workers' wage? So look, I'm just going to let you go so you can't ask me anything. Sue, how are you doing, Sue?
Hello. I just wanted to ask people, please don't be in a hurry to vote. Don't be in a hurry to endorse, because an awful lot of candidates haven't had a chance to have a say anyway yet. And the slates have got a head start on that because they've got their own way of getting more message out to more people. And we've got another week yet until endorsements close. I can't remember if it's 28th or 29th, but it's not soon. And your next hustings, if you can, Crispin, could you do it before the endorsement period ends? Because the endorsement is the most difficult period for independents.
I think
you should have said I'm standing as an independent.
Right. No, well, let me know, and I'll make sure you come on. It'll be on
Wednesday.
That
last one.
It will be on Wednesday, and that's before the end. And I'm sure the website will be working by then. Maybe yeah, so it should be fine. Probably work out better in a way. If the website working, people might go to it. But it will be at the end of the whole period, so it might be a nerve-wracking. If we don't know how many nominations people have had, it's going to be difficult to know what to do, really. But
anyway, everybody, please hold back until you've
okay.
seen more people.
All right, thank you. Well, yeah, Gio.
Hello, thank you. I just want to, Crispin, thank you for this evening. It's been great. It's been really useful for me. I'd like to thank all this range of fantastic candidates. Thank you very much. And I just have one request, please, Crispin. I've got a friend who's almost totally deaf and needs subtitles. And she said, I wish Crispin would have subtitles. So I just plant that seed for you for any future live things that you do, please.
I think there are captions. I think there are captions.
I can't. Where are they? Sorry. Okay.
I think you have to turn them on.
Thank you very much. Me and my friend will have a look at that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you can.
Are they like subtitles? Are they like
Yeah. Yeah, I can see myself saying all the
I shall
time.
have a look. Thanks a lot for that. I'm glad I asked. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Right. And Sabi.
Yes, a very interesting show, Crispin, as always. Just a quick word first of all on the rivalry, the factionalism. I think the more internal democracy that your party is able to create, the more grassroots involvement that is encouraged, the more the factionalism will heal at the top. And there were a few things that I think we're missing tonight. I think there should have been a bit more emphasis on trade union rights. I don't think any of the candidates mentioned the need to repeal the Trade Union Act. What we're seeing with this so-called Labour government is the creeping authoritarianism. That needs to be combated. Your party needs to come out fairly and squarely as a pro-democracy party against any kind of authoritarianism. So they need to pledge to repeal the Trade Union Act, and also to encourage the setting up of workers' committees at the local level. They need to pledge to renationalize the key industries, rail, energy, and so on, and also to encourage the creation of local working class trade union committees that will help to run new publicly owned industries. Finally, there was I felt a lack of discussion of the need to increase foreign aid. This government has shamefully cut foreign aid, which only increases the flow of refugees from war-torn, impoverished areas of the world, like as in Africa. So the more foreign aid, the more immigration will be corrected. We need to invest actively in Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. By the way, the captions do work. I could hardly hear there, and I could hear much better now.
Yeah, thanks, Crispin. A very good show, and very impressed with your timekeeping. So well done. You managed to get through an awful lot of people in a relatively short period of time. I'm not standing as a candidate. I'll get that across. So nothing to plug there. I'm too old and don't have the energy levels that would be required for such an important post. In terms of getting things going. Locally, though, I have helped set up Sheffield Proto Branch, very active, doing lots of things in terms of meetings. But of course, like all proto branches, we've all been held back by the lack of data being shared, etc. And there's no recruitment materials, all the things we need to get us moving. And you compare the momentum that we've had of your party compared to the momentum from Zach Plansky and the Greens. And we look completely amateurish. And that must get changed. It must be changed. We need to go forward. And I've got to say, I think the choice really, no disrespect to any of the independent candidates, but the real choice is, do we want to continue with the leadership we've had for the last 6 months or so, which is the leadership team around Jeremy Corbyn and standing on the many slate, or do we want to have a more democratic, outwards, supporting the branches and with a raft of political positions that they're prepared to argue for? And that's why Sheffield Left is supporting the grassroots left slate, because I think, we have to change the way we've been operating. We've got to become orientated from the base rather than orientated from the top. So I would urge people to give that consideration when they're deciding who to endorse. Thanks for letting me speak.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Lee. And we've got Corbyn. Corbyn's on the call. Piers Corbyn.
Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
That is fantastic. Yes. Well, I'm honoured to be on, and Crispin, that was a fantastically produced show, and I'm really impressed by the standard of candidates who've come up. And I would say that I think the most important thing that's come out of this is the key issue to get the public involved in following your party is cost of living. And that leads on to, of course, the necessity for nationalisation, democratic nationalisation of utilities and so on. I think on the issue of the divisions between different factions, I think if the CEC, and if I was there, I would insist on this, get all the factions to list their main points and then discuss them on the CEC. And a lot of them, I'm sure we'll agree. And then this factionalism will decrease. I mean, if we work together on it, we can. I think a thing that was impressive about all the people who came on is, their ability to answer campaigning issues. But I would have liked to hear more about what these individuals would actually offer uniquely themselves. And I'm sure a lot of them have got that, but maybe that's the sort of thing we ought to talk about next time. I mean, I myself have got a huge experience of organising over the last 50 years, and of course, I've got a scientific background which can be brought to bear on advisors or whatever who come forward and quiz them properly and make everything we do accountable.
Okay. Well, maybe speak to you on the next one if you're standing, are you?
I am standing, yes. I'm London.
Right, okay. Well,
and I'd be very happy to come on the next one and find out more. If people want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Piers_Corbyn, where there's links to what I stand for.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to move on to Jenny. Jenny.
Hi, Crispin. The last time I saw you was in the queue at the conference. Going into the conference, I do think you should have your say. Maybe not tonight, but I think you should.
Yeah, but I'm not answering that question about the wages.
Okay, I'll let you off that one. No, I'm just saying, but we are we're a group in Lancashire. A few of the candidates have been on here tonight, but we are holding a hustings for Lancashire candidates. If anyone wants to know about it, please do get in touch. We're holding it on Friday at 6:30. There is a link in the chats that I've put in, and I have emailed you, Crispin, with the details. If anybody come from Lancashire, the thing with Lancashire, we've got all these big regions. We're in the northwest. We always get swallowed up with Manchester and Liverpool, and these independent candidates do not get their say. So we are holding this hustings. We're part of the Chorley Prouter branch. So we're going to hold these hustings with the other Lancaster, Preston independents. Michael Lavalette will be on there. Arif, Sue, Jenny, Ron Cooper, they're all coming on. If anybody else in Lancashire would like to come on and have their say, and anyone in the Northwest wants to come up there, come up onto that and ask their questions to these candidates, please do so. Crispin, I have sent you the details. If you could put them out in your general info, that'd be really appreciated.
Yeah, I'll try and do that. Yeah. I mean,
like you are.
Yeah, my dad's from Preston, so I know about Lancashire and hot pot. Thank you. And now Shani Kavanagh.
Hi, sorry, I don't do the videos, so I'm going to be off video.
Don't worry.
I have two things I want to say. One is actually a question to candidates, but I think I'll leave that to another time. What I will say is I think that a lot of this slamming and abusiveness and all of the factional information and this constant battling and warring is being set up because everybody is slamming the admin team who are trying to put this together. Now, I've been an events organizer for a very long time. I've stage managed people like Amy Winehouse. I've done a lot of stuff. I've done question time. And I'm telling you now that events of this size, where you're trying to manage 60,000 people, which is half the amount of people who work in McDonald's, it is a quarter of the amount of people who went to Glastonbury this year. If you're trying to organise that amount of people in 6 months to become members of branches across the county, you're trying to put a conference together that holds them all. They booked the most accessible venue in the UK that they possibly could, and yet they've been slammed constantly for accessibility. They've been slammed financially. There's been no money. £800,000 was taken by Zara Sultana, who refused to give any of it back until about 2 or 3 weeks before the conference. So I think we need to be really careful about who we're accusing of what, because there's been no compassion here. There's just been slamming and blaming and accusing, and people saying we haven't got any data for our proto branches. Of course you haven't. It's against the law. The law states that when the CEC come into place, they then have to have and sign legal papers that allow them to be responsible for all the data of the entire party and all the finances. So anybody who tells you that they're not getting data and they're not getting for their proto branches, they're asking the team, they're asking your party and all its members to break the law. And none of us want to break the law. So if you break the law on data like this, you get had up by the Information Commissioner, which is exactly what happened to Zara Sultana. If you break the law on the Electoral Commission, we are then not allowed to open
Right,
the
okay.
party.
No,
So I think people have to be really careful about what they're saying.
okay, just I know you've spoken over the 2 minutes, but thank you for coming on. And yeah, I can maybe you didn't want to show your face because you might not be called Shaney Kavanagh. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not I'm not sure, but I find it quite funny that well anyway. I think we should laugh at our bickering. Don't take it too seriously. I mean, people hate each other because sometimes we're traumatized by being beaten about by Starmer and all the other witch hunting going on, and we're sort of traumatized. We're just coming out of it, and we're behaving a bit irrationally sometimes. We've got to have a sense of humor as well, though. I think otherwise we'll never get through it. I can't get out of bed if I don't have a laugh now and then. Kim Taylor, you're going to tell me off having a laugh. Kim.
Yeah, I was going to say I agree. It's a case of laugh or cry at the moment. Yeah, I guess I just wanted to state as well that I am also an independent candidate for the West Midlands, and also it's really good to see Alex Fox, a fellow comrade, on the call. And good luck to him with his campaign as well. But I guess I've just wanted to ask Uncle, like, I guess how to get on next week. I know you've probably been inundated with people asking,
No,
but
no, no. Look, if
I
I
don't
can
want to
get,
take up
look,
time.
I don't
I'm
want
just
to. I
doing
don't want to
next
be
week.
too cocky, but I did 18 there. I could do 20. And I know we don't have Northeast, and we only had Alex in the West Midlands. We only had Helen in Southwest. We only had Rashida in Yorkshire. So there's some gaps here. And yeah, so I think definitely just send me an email if you can, and I'll make sure you're on there.
All right, brilliant. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Jenny, you was on earlier. Although you're using the same name and a picture, so that's good. All right. What would you like to say?
No, I just want point of information really is that the public office holders are now open, and you can see who they are. There's 8 of them, and you can see how many votes you've got if you click on the candidates and go to view to look at their statement. Scroll down to the bottom, and it tells you how many endorsements you've got. And I've got
brilliant.
1, so thank you whoever that was.
Right. Okay.
People would like to know
brilliant.
that in case they missed it in the comments.
So you can see it without, because I did see a little quote in that. I can't keep up with the chat, but someone wrote something like you can see it when you vote, but you can actually see it before you vote.
Yeah, I went to look at mine just to see, and there it was, and I checked 1 or 2 others, and you can see what people have done.
Brilliant.
So,
that means do you know what that means? It means that if we organised, we could make sure that as many get through who are, that we don't all bundle our votes into one place. So yeah.
Yeah. So currently, last time I looked, Zara had 26 and Jeremy had 17.
Oh, right. Early days, very early days. Okay. All right. Oh no, that's making it into a Jeremy Zara thing. Alex.
Hi, Crispin. Just really quickly, because I know we're running over. Yeah, big thanks to you for hosting this. You should have had your 2 minutes, and I hope to see your 2 minutes in one of the next events because, you've done a lot to organise and you really do deserve to say your piece. I just wanted to kind of maybe offer an alternative view to the person that came on and didn't turn their camera on and shouted for 2 minutes about data.
Oh no! Oh no! We're gonna get a.
I mean, look, this is my perspective, and people can tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't personally think that you have to disclose all member data to people to form a proto branch, right? There are ways of connecting people in an anonymous way through the members' website. Like June pointed out earlier, we have controls over our personal profiles as to who sees the details that we disclose. So we can either have no one view our profile, or members view our profile, or search engines in the public view our profile, right? So the technical pipework is there to be able to invite people at a constituency level and say, do you want to talk with your party people in your area? And you say yes. And you can just have your first name, your initials, like a million different social apps in the world happen. You can WhatsApp people without ever knowing their name, right? You can Discord people, you can Zoom chat people, you can Slack chat people, right? Anonymity on the internet is kind of a given, really. So I just want to reject this narrative of, the party couldn't possibly have helped you form a branch because to do so would have made us illegal in the eyes of the Information Commissioner's Office. There are a million different ways to get the party organised. My belief is that it was completely deliberate that we weren't allowed to do that because they didn't want strong independent voices going towards the CEC elections. They wanted to control the people that would get the endorsements by making sure that everyone was in their little echo chambers and their little WhatsApp chats that we've had to build over the years. Right? It's a very, very deliberate process, and the interim leadership should not be anywhere near leadership when the CEC takes power because they've made some really, really deliberate, poor choices. That's my last thing for tonight. Thank you very much to everyone.
Right, Laura's on there. Wait. Are you there, Laura? Put your hand up. No. I don't think Laura's. That might be a legacy. What do they call it? Legacy hand. Steve's come back. Steve, you're going to be the last on because it's past 10.
I think this is a point for everybody. We can help each other because when Jeremy Corbyn got elected as leader, all people didn't like him much, but they wanted him to have a chance to stand, whether they supported him or not. And we should have the same attitude. We should help each other to get this ridiculous 75 candidates. We should all work pitch to help each other. So everybody who wants to stand should be able to get the 75 and then let the members decide who they want to vote for.
Exactly. I think. Yeah, but that's good. It's good that we've got that system where you can see how many everyone's got and then we can just reassess it and get as many on because, as you say, what the members have got to decide. If people can get their manifestos out to the members, then they can all vote. So that's good news. Long may that website continue to show endorsements and not be changed to right. So I am going to play Rob Johnson's grand finale. We're back on Sunday with the normal show. As you see, I got rid of the moustache, and obviously helps me to get more votes. That's why I did it. It wasn't helping me at all. I was getting people saying that they felt sick looking at me with a moustache. So I think I'm on a winner. I'm just going to keep shaving. That's what my tip to anyone who could grow a moustache is don't grow a moustache. Okay, so here we go with Rob Johnson's upbeat. Well, it's kind of mournful but upbeat in another way.
Empires, walls and checkpoints cast long shadows on the land. But a child skips down the street, empty basket in their hand. Trees speaking a language every child can understand. We will grow again. We will grow. Outside Gilboa prison and the cramped streets of Janine, rooted deep as centuries, uprising free as spring. Hand in hand the olive trees go dancing with the wind. We will grow again. We will grow. Olives fill the branches, branches fill the hands, hands fill the basket, and the olive trees the land. Empires, walls and checkpoints vanish into sand. We will grow again. We will grow. We will grow again. We will grow